What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Andrew, Bill, Daniel, Edwards in the house. Good morning to Jeff, Ray, Sabine. You guys are piling in. Good morning to all my people out in YouTube land. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons. Yeah, okay, little positivity to start the day. We got the market grinding a little bit higher. Just a little bit. Good location for open. It is still inside day Friday though, so I'd probably expect a little bit of chop out of the gate. If we come back to the VPOC from Friday, well, quite honestly, I wouldn't really enjoy that too much. I hope we don't get that full retest. It'll take us down to 660.46, but then you got to climb back through some more resistance, which the market after hours market is kind of or pre-market is kind of pushing us above it now, so they did the dirty work for us. I'm looking for at least maybe a little pullback into like 662.27. That would be decent. Can kind of hang in that zone. Let me just zoom in a little bit. 662.22, something like that. See if we can use that for some kind of support to the higher side. We still got 664.37, so a little bit of a tight market. And then we got 665.38 to the, I guess, the next real actual big target. All of this, though, is still inside of that monstrosity of a candle on Thursday, which is November 20th. And that's the candle to watch. Look for Friday's lows at some point. If we start to take that out, I think the market gets even uglier from here. Watch the highs of that Thursday candle. If we start to break that out, that would be a powerful move on the bull's end. So we're not in jeopardy really at this point of either of those, but the market does have a little positivity in it for today. So we'll see if we could probably most likely chop, but let's see if we could go at least chop in a bullish direction, slow melt higher. Qs. Qs, we've got same thing. Inside day candle from Friday. So we're still in that range. We already did get up to, so not as clear cut on the Qs as a SPY, where after hours they got through those last 2 days, the Wednesday, Tuesday candle. But we have been pretty much there before, almost. Watch for 597.98. That would be my first target. Watch for 598.75 would be my secondary target. We'll see if we can get through that. SPY already has Qs, not yet. But with inside day candle, we might see a bigger retest here. So you might see 591.65 to the low end. That should be a really good support. Again, we could get down to 589.32. I don't really want to see us even make it all the way. That means we got some more resistance now. We got to recapture and retake out, and I'd just rather get the bounce at 591. We'll call it 50, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But inside day candle, I think you probably have that little bit of a retest first. We'll see what comes in. BTC USD is trying. Got a nice little Friday hammer. It was the bounce spot I was looking for. It's trying. That's also actually a three-bar reversal too. So if you take Saturday's candle, Sunday's candle, which was the first green one we've seen in 1, 2, 3, 4 days, you don't really want to break underneath it. But if we chop around here for a little bit and hold, then start to pop. Okay, that would be a good location to do so. So we'll see. We got right into that support. We bounced, and the next big target I think is roughly that 95K zone. So we'll see if we can get back there. Are we still in a downtrend, or did we actually break? This would be interesting. So there's a little bit of a downtrend. And then this morning, so Sunday just got us into the resistance, and now we did open it higher. We're technically above it at this point, so we'll see if that holds, and we'll see if we could finally, maybe over this week, get some positivity for Bitcoin. Let's look at gold. Do we have any pop there? Thursday, Friday, small moves, nothing too crazy, just kind of hanging out. Today, so far, seems like the same. I think we're opening right into a resistance Yeah, you got a little big. It's an oxymoron. You got 375.02. Let's see if we can get above that. That would take us up to 376.36. Otherwise, to the downside, as long as we hold and we probably get this pullback first, we'll see. You got 374.33 to the downside, and that's the zone you kind of want to hold. Otherwise, we're pulling back a little bit more. Silver, SLV. Silver also inside day candle. Honestly, everything kind of looks like inside resting, slight edge to the bulls, but not expecting anything too crazy today. That does not look like. Target to the higher side for silver, 45.81. We have been there already, so if we get a little bit higher, maybe we start running into 46.12 for support on a pullback inside day. I think that's probably likely that we probably see 45.23 at some point today for silver. We got some tickers coming in. Yep, if you guys got tickers and some names you want to take a look at, let me know. We got Microsoft is. Let's go to that weekly candle. Where are we at on that weekly? That's a rough week. That weekly candle looks like a almost perfect double top. Finally getting a pullback. We had just absolute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 green weeks in a row. It looks like we're probably coming in for that retest. Um, Bouncing off that 100 or bouncing off the 50. Maybe we can find a little support. I think that 100 in a longer term sense might make a little bit more sense in terms of when some of that selling could actually end. We got pre-market is gapping up a little bit, but right into that resistance. So I don't know. I think it depends on the rest of the market. To me, though, it looks a little bit still probably to the weak side. One, two. I mean, that was a big sell-off week. Maybe get a little rebound somewhere. On the daily, we're right at that. We're right below that 200 EMA as well. So really not a good close. I think still probably more weakness. I don't think I'd be playing this bounce quite yet. I'd see if we come down a little bit further. Position yourself a little bit better for cheaper pricing. But yeah, opening into a resistance, support resistance. If we're slightly actually below it at this point, if you get above 474.12 ish, 474.20, target in a bullish direction probably takes you right into that 200. Also a good VPOC there, 478.97. But I think there's probably other stocks I'd rather go bullish on than Microsoft. I think it's probably still weak. And only problem with shorting Microsoft today is the rest of the market is getting a little gap up. At open though, if the market wants to come back down, retest, you might have a decent 1.2 at least, potentially 2R on Microsoft for the short side. So we'll see. I kind of rather play it short than long. Let me get this a little bit higher. Uh, that's not a good sign. I don't really have a demand zone until we hit to like 360, so that's still another $110 down. And then volume actually only comes in at 412.84. So a little bit more room to the downside. That would make some sense to me. We got FDX. FedEx. FedEx did bounce off a supply zone, so that's good. We've demand zone. We got supply zone all the way up at 293.41, so that's got room a little bit higher. Pre-market, looks like we're just opening flat unless I'm missing something. Yeah, I don't see any crazy gap or anything like that, so we're just kind of opening where we closed. The trend looks like it's still trying to bounce. It does have room to go higher again. Depends on where this one actually wants to open. But for right now, watch for 270.07. That should be a decent resistance if we get through that, which eventually it looks like we are. We're above all moving averages. Momentum looks like it's pushing a little bit bullish. Uh, for today, you got a decent longer term volume zone we might get stuck in. It was a nice day on Friday, so we've already put in a decent move. But watch that 270 zone, 270.07. If we get above it, there's really not too much holding us back. Just even in terms of volume, you got 272.01, and then you got 275.72. So somewhere up in that range would make sense. Probably want to stay bullish rather than bearish. But you did have a big day on Friday. Maybe today we rest a little bit before that next move. Again, Thanksgiving week volume. Also, by the way, as we get closer and closer to Thanksgiving, volume starts to die a little bit. So keep that in mind for trading. Uh, could be some strange moves here and there. Today should be okay. Tomorrow starts to get a little bit rougher. Wednesday is brutal. If you're trading Wednesday, or very very early morning, probably good moves, and then after that, it's just sleepy time for the markets. Typically, you got Meta is, although even though it's sleepy time, you do get that also means there's not a lot of resistance coming in to block some of the trades. So algos are a little more free just to run wild and do some stupid things during the day as well. You got Meta is gapping up a little bit, so that looks decent. We are above. Well, if we fully retest, you got 594.70. We'll see what happens on that if we get a full retest. Otherwise, again, don't really want to. This one's still just chopping around. We are holding this like 580 to $600 range. We'll see if we get a little bit of a bounce somewhere since earnings came out. We haven't had any sustainable bounce, but now you got 1, 2, 3, 4 days essentially of just kind of hanging out, chilling, trying to build a little bit of support. And the problem is you got to get above 606.08. If we get above that, still a bunch of resistance in the way. The bigger one for like a bigger bounce, get above 612. We've been banging into that one a few times last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. So that would tell me like, all right, we might get a little bit of a bigger actual bounce. For right now, this does look like we're just chopping, kind of building some support. Decent open for today. Maybe we're looking at Thursday's candle, see if we get higher than that. And if we could, finally, we might have a little bit of a bounce. I don't think we're making it all the way back to close that gap quite yet. I think eventually, at some point, bigger target. I think we probably get back to that 740 or 750 zone, but not anytime soon. This is still a damaging gap for Meta, and the more we can actually stabilize from here would give us a bigger pop if it could get out of there. We got Hood, HOOD. Good high wave candle, right into a little bit of support, so not bad. We did close a gap all the way from September. Finally took that gap out. Good risk reward. If you're taking that exact setup, that would be 3.7 Rs to the higher side. Supply is all the way up at 142. I don't know what the valuation looks like on Robinhood at this point, but it is definitely better than it was 2 weeks ago. So if, again, market is up. Retailers, and I see Andrew saying Oscar Health too. That one is gapping up as well. But if we get some of the retailers that come back in, the Oklos, the QS, even though QS I think just recently had a downgrade, but some of those names, you probably will see Palantir, Robinhood, all those guys start to bounce again. But a very interesting location. Still inside day from, so I'd be more bullish than bearish here, I think, on Robinhood. But I would like to see at open maybe a small pullback. Still inside Friday's candle. I think if you get a pullback into like 107.63, you start to get a little bit better risk reward on your side. Targets for today, I'm not really sure. But your first resistance would take us to 113.83. There is room for us to make some good money day trading. And then I'd say probably extended targets take us up to 115.45 into 115.87, something to that effect. But yeah, interesting spot. If the Bulls can come in, that should be your spot. That Friday bounce was a good location for it. So we get that a little bit higher as well. We got coin. Coin is hanging out for now. We still broke through the 257.62. Again, Bitcoin hit a bounce spot. Maybe that does help coin out. Otherwise, we're in 240s for right now. You are slightly higher than Friday's candle. Actually, maybe we're just right at the very, very top of it. If we get a pullback, watch for maybe some kind of support around 242.64. Still in that downtrend. We haven't really broke out yet. Resistance, I think, probably a good one for today. 251.09. Again, Bitcoin looks like it might want to bounce a little. We'll see. But for today, even on today, Bitcoin looks like it's just kind of pulling back, retesting the Sunday candle, which had some positivity to it. So maybe crypto not as strong today. Other than that, look for like 251.09. See if there's some kind of resistance there, if we could actually take it out. Bigger volume, bigger resistance. I would say if we have a magical day on coin, probably 258.02, somewhere to that effect. All right, we got MSTR sticking with some crypto names. And well, the next support, if we continue to keep coming down, we got about 125. It's still a decent amount of room to the downside. However, high wave indecision yesterday. It's just been kind of full panic mode, getting absolutely beat up. We do have interesting volume that we're sitting right on top of. You might actually on a swing trade might have a decent risk reward. I've got really nothing holding us back. So we do have some support down in the zone. Not too much to really hold us back until we get up to back to the 250s. So maybe it's an interesting time to start looking at some of the MSTRs of the world. That is possible. Again, if we break down, you got probably 120-ish on the horizon for right now, but none of those are even really strong support zones. So we'll see if we get the bounce here. Otherwise, for today, it is a little bit of a gap and go. Still inside Friday's candle. I'd be leaning toward a little bit more chop for today. I don't know if today's the day that we could actually break through, but we did get up to that next resistance. So that's 178.44. Maybe if we get through that again, if we could break through it, probably extended targets for today, 185.21. But interesting spot. Bulls trying to stay alive. High wave indecision, good gap up, but still in downtrend. I'd expect chop or look for some kind of support for like 172.05. We'll see if we come into that. Oscar. So yeah, I believe over the weekend they said they're going to extend the Obamacare credit for another 2 years. So 2 more years. Healthcare's companies kind of love it for now. But you have Oscar gapping up. Just a massive move. We almost made it to support on this one. Not quite. Really good gap though. It is up a lot. I don't know how much more. I think the risk reward starts to shift a little bit. I like that huge volume candle getting taken out. Problem with this one, we do have a little bit of resistance supply zone coming in somewhere around 1645. If this one wants to continue a little bit more, I think you're gonna get people wanting to take some gains and some profits on this one. Maybe I think a good resistance would be 1716. So we'll see. But you are getting into a little bit of a sell spot. I think this one probably goes up a little bit higher first before we get that sell, but I don't think I'd be going along here. I think buying the dips, I think after you just had a good rip, it's probably, I'd much rather just be buying into panic as opposed to buying into strength in this market. So I don't think I'd be going long here. If it does want to get up to $17, 17.12, 17.14, somewhere in that zone, that might be a time to go short. That might help some of those bag holders on Oscar Health finally start to clear some of their positions at a minimum loss or maybe even slight little gain, break even, something like that. But I think we're going to run into a little resistance. Really good gap though. I would expect actually a little bit higher at open than immediate drop. We'll see what happens. UNH, let's take a look at it as well. UNH bounced off a good volume zone, so you got 304.40-ish, maybe a little bit higher, 305.74, something like that. But nonetheless, on Wednesday, good bounce from there, starting to get some continuation. If I'm going to go long on something, and I don't think I would take this one long either, you got your supply zone, which is a decent one, starting right around 317.08. So be careful on some of these healthcare names. You do have some resistance. But if I had to choose between Oscar Health and United, well, you're still down a decent amount on UNH, where Oscar is really not that far from kind of all-time highs. So I think you have eventually, especially the longer term sense, better risk reward on this. Otherwise, really good volume. We took that out. You got another little shelf sitting somewhere around 342.39. And then after that, nothing. I've got nothing after that. Just wide open space up until 479.40. So we'll see if United wants to make a comeback. That's obviously a longer term target, not for, I don't think we hit that day trading wise. But even this one does have a little bit of resistance that we're kind of pushing up into as well. Intel, I'm losing my voice. Oof. Intel is a little bit of a gap up. You got some decent support. You got 34.74. You got 34.67. Let's see if we get that pullback still inside Friday's candle at the high end range. We probably get a pullback on open. We'll see. I'm not expecting a big one. Next target though is 35.34. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know if we're able to get a good day trade off of it, unless we have expectations that gets taken out. The next level would take us to like 35.86. So that gives us a little bit better risk reward if we're gonna get some kind of a balance. But I'd have to wait for some kind of intraday setup, high wave candle hammer, something like that. But kind of want that retest as low as possible. I can see this one pulling back to like 34.77, and we'll see if we get some kind of a bounce. But decent gap on this one. It's got some room. Kind of in no man's land in terms of supply demand. Technically, your next demand is all the way down at like I don't know 24.50. But right now, holding up decent volume. Yeah, if we go a little bit higher. That takes it to like I don't know 36.30. But I think that's a tough one for today. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to work with the intraday setups really closely on this one. So we'll see if we get that small high wave candle, something like that at open in SoFi. But I would be more bullish than bearish on that. SoFi, we've got a little bit of a gap up. This is also a retest. That's I like that gap. At least at least we're taking out the VPOC from Thursday, which was all bear day. Target on this one, probably not that much room, 2603. If we could take that out, your next bigger target with really decent resistance is about 2661. I kind of want this one to chop around a little bit first. Next demand zone, 2270, something like that. Almost got down to it, tried the bounce. For today, I don't really want to be bearish on it. I'd probably be leaning bullish. Just not sure about the targets. Not sure how far we're able to push on this one, unless again we just have an incredibly strong day in the SPY. Um, However, again, if retailers come in, this would be a good retail name. So they can find momentum even into the latter part of the week. If you got some momentum, some lighter markets at least, less maybe less institutions kind of reversing some trades. SoFi, interesting spot for a longer term bounce. But other than that, day trade, I think is going to be a little tough on this one. I think that was the entire list. We have, let's see. Yep, so far entire list. Let me know if you guys have anything else. Otherwise, we'll run through Tesla. What is Tesla doing on this fine-looking Monday? We've got $400.50, so $9 gap up. Also, very good location. Lots of resistance in front of us. Again, I'd rather be more bullish than bearish. However, I don't like the upside to this one until we start getting through. Probably need a close pass it, but we get to like 409. That opens the door. Otherwise, we're kind of gapping up into a little bit of resistance as well. Let's see if there's a little chop in there. We got Nvidia. Nvidia is look at that bounce spot. Incredible. Incredible little bounce. Right around that 173. That was the next demand down. Otherwise, there was one right in here too, but we're just sitting inside of it. So we have to break this out. Got to break 183.44 for hopes of a bigger push. Um, it is a gap and go, but we're going to deal with 180.52. Again, once you have those high wave candles, it usually means you're not really doing much for a little bit of time. Usually you do live inside those high wave candles for an annoying amount of time sometimes. That could be all week. We could have a full weekly inside candle on NVIDIA. Um, so even though it's a gap and go, it's not, I don't think, as strong. If we were gapping it at like 180.59, I would like it a little bit better. So if you're going to be buying Nvidia, I wouldn't be taking breakouts. I'd put a price a little bit lower so you get a buy the dip as opposed to kind of buying breakout rips on Nvidia. Even if we do take out that 180.59 zone, the next resistance I think is about 182.82. So not too much more room even on an incredible day. But I think you're gonna get that just probably chop. I kind of think this one might fade a little bit. We're not double bottom, maybe. Maybe we pull back into like this 176.85 zone. 177.65. We get some kind of double bottom down there, maybe on that one. But I think we have to fail that resistance first. Uh, we'll see. We got ADBE, Adobe. That one did put a pretty decent bullish engulfing candle covering 2 days. They put that candle in on Friday. Okay, open to it. Nothing too crazy. Inside day again, and it looks like we're opening right at the VPOC. So nothing crazy, but trying good volume that came in on Friday. Otherwise, resistance for any again longer term bounce, you got to clear through those 326.52. Resistance takes you to 332.50, and we will see. Let's put Unity software, good bounce location, not horrible. Um, 39.60, I think would be your next target. Small pullback on this one. Let's see if this one could do a full retest of Friday. Again, I wouldn't love it if it does, but watch 39.14. I'd much rather that be a good support. Otherwise, watch for like 38.98. Got a little bit more room on this one. That would take us to 39.58. And then bigger target, I think, for today, 40.16. Nothing too crazy. AMD. Free falling. Horrible. VPOC on Friday. You don't want your VPOCs lower than this 209.60, and AMD was able to achieve it. Other than that, did almost hit the 100 on the daily, 100 EMA. We are getting a gap up for today. We are above the 205.24 zone, so let's see if there's some support there. Nice little bear trap, at least in a longer term sense. We broke down that candle. We lived in the open area, open space, open gap for just a little bit amount of time, and we did close inside that candle. So there's some hopes, but we're still kind of trending down. So AMD to me looks a little choppy. I think your bullish target probably about 210.23. And again, maybe that translates over to Nvidia too. Maybe some of the chips are not as strong for today. I just want to check one more, and then that is the morning bell. SMCI, good high wave candle. At least SMCI kind of bounced at a good location. Maybe we get some love on this one. That would take us to like 33.75. That still gives us a little bit room to the higher side. But let's see if there's some chop at open. Other than that, that is the morning bell. Everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already.